What's up, guys? Christopher Sweat, GrayStak Media. Normally I'm in Chicago, but we're in New York City right now, standing in Times Square. And behind us in the background is the People's Forum for Korea, which just wrapped up a 2 or 3 day conference and is holding a rally here in Times Square.
Everywhere across the globe, we see these same tactics used wherever the tentacles of U.S. imperialism reach. Armistice does not end occupation. Liberation does. Ceasefire does not bring peace. Only liberation does.
In Korea, today, July 27th, is Armistice Day. On this day, in 1953, the United States and North Korea signed a military agreement that established a ceasefire for the Korean War. The armistice was intended to be temporary, lasting no more than a few months. But the U.S. military continues its presence in the Korean Peninsula to this day.
We've heard from a number of speakers who have touched on different forms of anti-imperialism, anti-U.S. military occupation, and have showed connections between military occupation in Korea and U.S. support for the Zionist occupation in Gaza.
There is a common thread between the U.S. military occupation of Korea and the Zionist occupation of Palestine. That common thread is U.S. imperialism. That common thread is a suffocation of sovereignty. And that common thread is the machinery of war draped in the lie of security. It is the United States who has operational control of the South Korean military. It is the United States that holds a tightening leash over a supposedly sovereign nation. And it is the United States who stations tens of thousands of troops on its soil who commit crimes with impunity. Shame!
A couple things that have stood out to me is that, one, there is somewhat of an overlapping connection between a more conservative isolationist politics and a more leftist, progressive, anti-imperialist politics, where both sides' preference is to get the U.S. military back home and to stop spending money on foreign military occupation and foreign war.
From Baekdusan to Hallasan.
US out of Korea.
From Baekdusan to Hallasan.
US out of Korea.
From Baekdusan to Hallasan.
US out of Korea.
From Baekdusan to Hallasan.
From an economic perspective, the U.S. has forward positions in 132 countries. So the U.S. spends trillions of dollars of having these sort of forward positions that it has said protect the ideas, values, and capital flows associated with the international liberal order. At GrayStak, though, we have a consensus that the liberal international order ran from 1970 to 2019, and that right now we're post-liberal international order. And this is something that the Washington consensus struggles to recognize. What does it mean to be post-liberal international order? From a simple perspective, you have the emergence, the kind of transition from a unilateral assertion of the United States as a dominant world power that could shape policy throughout the international system, to the emergence of great power competition, which now includes Russia and China.
We know that they're laying a project of robbing us of our essential services to fund repression and and to fund empire abroad. But working people have long seen through these tactics to divide and conquer us. During the Korean War, comrades Paul and Essie Robeson called out how the U.S. used the demonization of Koreans to justify their occupation and to use black soldiers as cannon fodder to carry it out. The capitalists use divide and conquer tactics because they're deathly afraid of a unified movement, working people from all nationalities, all backgrounds, all walks of life, building together and making the connections between each other's struggles.
The question is, how will the United States adapt to this new order? Here with the People's Forum, the Palestinian Youth Movement, PSL New York City, some of the other orgs that tie back to our markets in Washington, D.C. and Chicago, one of the speakers pointed out that the Trump tariff policy and the tariff negotiations in Korea are being positioned in the United States as policies that will bring jobs back to America. And when the speaker pointed these policies out, you could hear throughout the crowd saying bullshit. I do have to agree with the crowd on the bullshit, because if you look at trade policy and industrial policy, we're talking about manufacturing here. There is an argument that Korea has a more sophisticated manufacturing sector than the United States, but the president would need to go beyond tariffs and also look at subsidies and export controls around the sectors that he's supposedly using tariff policy to create new jobs in the United States.
No to NATO, no to war. No to NATO, no to war. US sailors out the door.
What would incentivize a domestic manufacturer in South Korea that has a tremendous amount of supply chain domestically in South Korea and in Asia? Some of the companies that were brought up today were Hyundai, but we also have Samsung, LG, and other technology manufacturers. What would make a Korean technology company want to move its operations, its manufacturing operations, to the United States? It sounds like the Trump administration thinks that if they increase the cost in the short run through tariffs, that will incentivize foreign manufacturers to make foreign direct investment in the United States. But many economists know that short-run increases in tariffs drive inflation and make the domestic economy, the domestic environment, unattractive to foreign direct investment. So whether you agree with the politics that are being expressed here or not, if you get down to some of the basic policy-making heuristics or basic economics, even some of the basic opinions, there is a broader collective beyond leftist progressives that would like to see the U.S. move out of everyone else's affairs and discontinue being the world police.
U.S. out of Korea now! 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 No boots on the ground, no balls in the air!
That's hard.
You are side of everywhere! No boots on the ground, no balls in the air! You are side of everywhere! No boots on the ground, no balls in the air! You are side of everywhere! No boots on the ground, no balls in the air! You are side of everywhere!
let's talk about something else. You saw the People's Power Party holding power in Korea. This would be considered a conservative-esque party in Korea's domestic politics. The president of the People's Power Party called martial law and used straw man arguments to blame leftist progressives for this need to call martial law in Korea earlier this year. Maybe it was late last year. When that president called martial law, there was a rush of people into the streets, an intense rush of an expression of what they call here people power. And that president then went through a process before being arrested and basically kicked out of office. The Democratic Party of Korea, DPK, I believe, is considered a more center-left to progressive party in Korea. In the election just a few months ago, the Democratic Party of Korea unseated the People's Power Party of Korea, moving federal politics in Korea to the center left. Some would say that this is a big win from progressives. When I talk to some of my US friends in the defense and intelligence community in Korea that are attending the forums, two pivotal things that they pointed out that are good for anti-imperialist and isolationist alike is that the United States didn't call into Korea at the point of the martial law declaration. And then when the center-left progressive party won the election, it wasn't the United States that made the call into Korea, it was China. It's still up in the air if China is going to become another version of an imperialist power, but it's obvious that Washington, D.C. is very confused on how to deal with this post-liberal international order world. Christopher Sweat, GrayStak Media, but I'm in Times Square right now, New York City.